Chubstep.
Creating the oil of judgment.
Steed. Chub. Step.
Ladies and gentlemen, I give you the king of the jungle.
No reason. I just like doing things like that.
Hey, yo, lesson here, babe. You come at the king, you best not miss.
Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
And the show started.
Welcome back. Spooky edition.
No.
This is our official spooky.
I was going to do that next week. Do you have a lot of Halloween stuff this week?
I have no Halloween stuff.
Okay. Official next week is great pre-planning. Spooky episode teaser for next week because we're going to do a Halloween themed one next week.
Yeah, it's going to be scary. Like real scary.
People should be, you should be nervous. Like
or
I
in the
would
backseat
say,
of your car at night scary.
Yeah.
Like in that Saw movie. That was
like in your nightmares. So, Steve, we're not talking about Halloween right now. Positivity.
Okay. In good stuff news, well, I mean, Diddy went down. Jay Cutler got a DUI.
Okay.
The Diddy list is coming out. All your favorite people are going down. This is all. It's a bad news day. The news cycle is just getting wrecked.
It's negative. There's not a lot of positive. People don't care about the positive stuff.
I don't know any positive stuff. I mean, Jay Cutler didn't kill anybody when he got his
That's
DUI,
a positive.
so
You're right. That's a positive thing. The DUI is embarrassing and not good because it can lead to people dying, but he got caught before that. So they're right. That is positive.
Yeah. Well, he hit somebody. He hit a car.
You're going to hit a car if you're drinking and driving.
It was probably the other driver's fault, really.
Yeah, probably. God.
Just the way I'm like hearing, because he offered him $2,000 to get out of it. He's like, I'll give you $2,000 if you would just like leave right now. And apparently $2,000 was not enough. You should have went
apparently higher. Not enough. Should have gone up to you should have. What is the price that I would need? You can't just give him a number because you don't know how rich this guy is. So he probably take a guess based on the guy's car. But then you always have like the super rich guys that drive the shitty cars just to try to like fit in and seem like they're not super rich guys.
They're like $2,000, no way.
Yeah, you get like Leonardo DiCaprio driving a Prius or something, and you're like, then you assume that $2,000 is going to pay him off. So you got to ask him, what's your price?
Yeah.
Start in order to keep this quiet.
Then you go down from that.
What's your price, dude?
If somebody hit me,
and
they were like waste.
I guess the question is, it does some damage to your car. Let's say the cost of fixing the car is included.
They're going to also pay that at a later date.
Yeah.
I mean, it depends. It depends. If they just like bump me, $1,000. We can take care of this. Now, if somebody, jumped a median and almost hit a kid with a stroller or something, a kid pushing another kid in a stroller, then that's something where I got to be like, all right, you got to up the price. You got to pay the kids out. So we're talking like, 50 G's at that point.
Okay. So it's interesting you say this because your car did get hit by another car and the guy offered to pay for it and you never collected that money.
Well, I never got that one fixed.
I mean, I would say that, but it was offered.
It was
and
offered.
You never accepted this.
Yeah, but he wasn't drunk. So
you don't know that.
Need any hush
you don't know that kid wasn't drunk. He was coming home from a girlfriend's house.
Shit, you're right.
That's right. He probably was drunk.
He was probably so wasted. I just can't see it because I was also wasted.
Yeah, exactly. Was he backing out of a driveway? Yeah, but still, he could have been drunk.
That's like the easiest part of driving. That's what you got to do it every time you leave. Every time you start driving.
Yeah.
There's always time. One last kiss.
Steve, I had a couple little things here, little side stories. Okay. Marathon ran right past my house.
Okay.
We got a suggestion from Chubstep Brad. He said you and me should just run the marathon next year and do a Chubstep episode while we're running it.
Okay. Yeah, I've always wanted to do a marathon. by myself, not in this group race, which is
Yeah.
a farce to marathon running, just
Yeah.
so I can run a marathon and be like, that thing? Yeah, I just did that like last Thursday.
I do love that concept, Steve. So you do the exact route that the other people did, but you just do it like a week before when the streets aren't closed and you don't have people cheering you on.
Not even the same route. I'll just do it out here on the prairie path.
Okay.
Mark off 26 miles, put it on my Strava.
So your family's all big marathon people. Well, you've got some people in your family that are big
We have
marathon
one
people.
person in the family.
Yeah, sure, sure. We've got some listeners of big marathon people, Steve. I like the concept of just doing it the week before or after and just having to dodge the cars that goes through the route of going down streets and stuff.
That is better. That would be a more entertaining marathon to watch because then it's like, you got to be agile too.
Yeah. So let's consider this. I'm not a big runner, but maybe we do one Chubstep one while we're running a marathon. Doesn't have to be the marathon.
Yeah, because you have to pay money just to run.
Well, Chubstep Trent, who's been on the show a bunch of times, Vern, he ran one a couple years ago and just entered in like a half mile in so
You
that he didn't
started running?
Yeah. And he did it like God, I gotta ask him that story next time. He made it. He might have finished the whole thing with like very little to no training.
Yeah.
He's just a crazy person though. So I'll have to get the more story on that. But him and Hamboy ran it. I think neither of them paid for it. So
Yeah, you can't be paying for it.
what we were doing is the Bears were playing the Jags, and we had a whiteboard that was hung up that we were writing the score of the Jags Bears game as people running by. That was
Oh, okay.
that was the sign of the day. Everybody loved that.
Nice.
Yeah, but anyway, that was it. I also, Steve, went to Door County this a couple days ago.
Okay.
Just got back.
Not a lot of windows up there.
No, you were surprised about the lack of. I was picturing multiple doors per house, pretty standard single door,
Like two
one or
front
two
doors.
exterior, doors. So here's the thing about Door County, pretty area, a
Yeah.
lot of wineries, but notably not good wine, which is
There's no
interesting.
grapes up there.
They do have grapes up there. They
What?
do grow grapes up there.
That's not the climate for it.
They have them. I don't know what to tell you. So, but it's funny because like one of the wineries we went to, we go in there and they have like their regular wines, and then they have like the premium wines. So like you get a flight for regular or the flight of premium. The premium ones are just imported from California.
Yeah.
So
Makes sense.
So it's just a funny thing, but it is a cool, it's a pretty area and stuff. But it's just funny that like, hey, check out our premium wines. But if you don't make that premium thing, it's like that's just interesting. That's like your.
Yeah. I like certain regions of wine a lot better. Like Italy, wonderful.
Mamma mia.
Number 2 is France. Then you come over to California. Then you go to Australia. I hate what is it? Not Colombian. Some South American country does a bunch of it. Don't like it at all. It's the soil. I can taste the soil coming up in me.
You're a purist though, Steve. You're a winking owl guy.
Yeah, I'm a winking owl guy. California.
Yeah.
Not Door County. Door County, I mean, that should be like $1 a bottle.
It was not expensive, to be fair.
Okay.
The flights were not expensive.
At least they know what they're making.
Yeah. So anyway, I'll let you get to something, Steve. I'll get some other stuff later.
Okay. Let's go into the infuriating Steed science on E85 gas.
Everything in this world is made up of matter. And those matters behave with each other in certain ways. And that, students, is chemistry. Everything in this world is made up of matter. And those different matters behave amongst each other in different ways. And that, children, is Steed science.
See, this is weird. We didn't talk about this at all. I had this thing about corn. I don't know if I'm going to talk about it this episode. And I was literally I literally was going to ask you to do a Steed science on ethanol because I was like, this is just Chubstep brainwaves going back
Yeah.
and forth
Uh-huh.
across, 40 miles that we're separated by
Yep.
right now. But I was literally thinking about ethanol right before this, and it almost never crosses my mind.
Everybody thinks about ethanol all the time
Okay.
because they see that
Okay.
pump and it's 20 cents cheaper, and you're like, what the hell?
Yeah.
I'm gonna
Let's
put it.
let's
Some days you're feeling cheap, and you're like, fuck it, I'm filling my tank up with that shit.
I know what it was. I just made a Mexican thing that had corn tortillas, and then I was thinking about other stuff that corn, is used to make. And then I was thinking about like, well, corn tortillas, people don't complain about that. They like those better than flour tortillas health-wise a lot of times. But then they hate corn oil and they hate ethanol. Like people hate ethanol. So I'm glad you brought this
That's
up.
okay.
Continue.
That's shocking that when you're making a tortilla, that's where your mind wanders to.
That's
Mine
my
wanders to
sick
like,
twisted mind.
mine's like, should I fry this tortilla or
Yeah.
not fry this tortilla?
Yeah.
Yours is like, man, the global economy's impact of corn.
This is the curse that I live with, Steve.
Ethanol.
This is my curse.
Yeah. Okay, so let's see. Where do we start? Let's start. What How do you get this ethanol? What's going on? Why is it in our gas? Well, to start, you just get a bunch of corn. Okay.
Yeah.
You got a bunch of corn. If you
Assuming
wanted
it's
to make
feed
ethanol
corn.
out of it, it's an 8-step process. It's pretty cut and dry. Okay.
Okay.
First, you crush up the corn. Pretty standard. Then you liquefy the corn. You add water. You boil it. You boil your corn. Okay. This is you're liquefying it. Liquefaction.
Like a cream corn.
No, because sure.
Doesn't
Yeah,
have cream. Yeah, just water.
or cream corn. Doesn't matter. Okay. Then you need to satrification it. Satrification, where you're breaking down the starch into sugars. You boil it again, I guess. I don't know. Don't worry about it. Then you ferment it. So you're fermenting the sugar. You ever made a beer making kit? You ever had that?
Yeah, I've made beer before many times.
Yep. So you're doing this, but just with a lot of corn.
Okay.
A lot of corn.
Corn beer.
Then this is my favorite part, because it involves tubes.
Okay.
The distillation. So you're evaporating and condensing it. So, you evaporate it out, goes through some tubes. I'm a big science tube guy. Goes into a different bucket. And then you've got your alcohol. And then they do what's called denaturation. What? Denaturation. Denaturation.
I know some of these words.
So you ever see denatured alcohol at the store?
I no, not that that's my knowledge.
Well, it's a thing. They like sell it in things, and it can be used for like fuel on stoves or like.
Oh, okay, sure.
I don't know, cleaning stuff.
I'll take your word for it.
So I always thought that, the alcohol came where you can't drink it. So and they had to like make it safe by maybe boiling it or something. I was wrong. When they denature it, they actually add gasoline to the alcohol, so you can't drink it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So if they didn't do this last step, you'd just be able to straight up shove that gas nozzle down your mouth when you're getting the E85. This is where the 15% gas comes in.
Okay, so straight ethanol is actually you're saying you can just drink straight ethanol.
You might die. I don't know. You can drink it.
Okay.
You can drink it. I don't recommend drinking it.
Okay. But then they mix it with gasoline.
So you can't drink it.
Do not drink gasoline, right?
Yeah, technically you can drink it, but whatever. So that's how they make the ethanol, and 15%. They add 15% mixture of gasoline to the freaking ethanol, and you get E85 gas. It's 85% ethanol. Normal gas. What?
Oh, I thought it was 85% gasoline.
That's what I thought too. Because it goes like 80, it goes like 91, 87, 85.
Yeah.
Or, I don't know, whatever. But it goes from like 87, then they jump over to 85. And I'm like, okay, so it's like 2% less.
Yeah.
Wrong. It flip-flops.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So I think the 87 whatever gasoline is 87% gasoline and then 13% ethanol. Because all the fuels have a little bit in there.
Oh, I didn't realize that. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So the higher you get, the more pure your gasoline is, and you want nice pure gasoline. So I'm sure you've heard, Big Corn come in and say some things about ethanol, like it's better for the environment. It's
You're
fine.
helping your local farmers. I grew up, but my mom's side of the family has a lot of her side of the family, like uncles and grandpa, stuff like that, were corn farmers, dude. So you cannot, I'm actually siding with them on this one.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what Big Corn wanted you to do.
Exactly.
When back in 2005, when we were in this little thing called Desert Storm,
Mm.
or I don't know if that was Desert Storm, but
No, Desert Storm was way before 2005.
okay, well, either way, we were blowing up Iraq again.
Yeah.
And there's a big oil crisis. So what does the government do? They're like, all right, well, we can make our own fuel with this bullshit corn stuff. So they start like mandating, hey, all gas needs X amount of ethanol in it.
Mm-hmm.
And then they said by 2030 we want it to be whatever, super high amount of ethanol and like way less gasoline because it's renewable, it's better. As it turns out, Big Corn is behind this.
Yeah,
lobbying. They're lobbying, and all of it's not true.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't do the studies. They might not have known. But it's not better for the environment. It actually doubles greenhouse emissions.
Oh my God.
Just due to like the farming, and then it's just not as good as burning.
Sure.
Ethanol is only 2/3 or a third as like burnable. It has 1/3 as much energy as gasoline in it. So if you burn a gallon of gasoline, versus a gallon of ethanol, you're getting only a third of the energy output. So you're getting way lower gas mileage when you're using the E85. So you got to use a lot more of it. And then what was the other thing? Oh yeah, it just wrecks your car's engine.
Yeah, certain ones say they're rated for flex fuel, that sort of thing. You can't just put it in a normal car for the most part. They literally says on there, like, this can take E85 or this can't.
Yeah, I guess it's the ethanol attracts water for some reason, so it's more corrosive to the metals and rubber, so it just wrecks your car. So you get worse gas mileage, it wrecks your car. Whatever. You're wondering, what's going on? Why would we ever do this? Well, Iowa, swing state.
Oh, shit.
Okay, so all the politicians want to appease the corn people.
Yeah.
And they say, oh, yeah, we'll just, whatever, bullshit, sell more corn. Corn prices skyrocket. Iowa's rich. Everybody votes for Biden. Okay. Well,
the timing worked out perfect there. 2005.
Yep. He was in there. He was in Congress or something. But then back in 2014 or something, Big Oil hit back at Big Corn, put more money into government lobbying, and then they reversed some of the ethanol things.
Yeah.
So that's why we're not all using E85 right now.
Gotcha. Yeah, so my only really experience using the E85 was actually, weirdly, Steve, the last time I went to Door County in high school. So over 10 years ago, I went and with T-Bron, who's been on the show, he was the one that talked about weather conspiracies on the show when you did the Steed show. So I guess he hasn't been on Chubstep, he's been on Steed show. So he put in E85 in his Chevy Monte Carlo. And I remember all of a sudden it was getting literally like half the amount of gas mileage. We're like, oh God, why did we do this? It was like a little cheaper. So I was like, we'll try that. And then he did it and it was like, terrible gas mileage. Like, okay, he's not doing that again.
Yeah. So basically, never use E85 ever. So, that's my findings.
So the only positive thing about it is it can be grown versus having to find it in the ground.
Yeah. Okay. And I think it's like a little bit cleaner burning, but you got to burn more of it.
You need to burn more, so it doesn't matter. Yeah.
And then you also have to farm the farm stuff, which that burns a lot of
yes. Oh, for sure.
gas up in the air. And then you got to, mill it. You got to do the 8-step process. But back in the gasoline seed science, that was a whole process too. That involved even more tubes.
So I'm out on ethanol. I was always out on ethanol. I was never an ethanol guy.
I didn't know. I didn't know I didn't know it was getting me 30% reduction in MPGs out there.
Yeah, that's
that's crazy.
Good for
because it's not 30% cheaper.
No, but I guess like people that like to dip, that like an excuse to stop at the gas station. Maybe that's a good reason for them to use E85.
That's a good point. Yeah, get a snack, get some smokes.
Yeah.
Get some, and then maybe your car will smell. No, well, I guess if you're like a really bad alcoholic too, E85 is safer to drink than normal gasoline.
Okay.
Once again, I'm not condoning it.
Not condoning it, but if you were to drink some sort of fuel, E85 would be better than straight gasoline.
I'm assuming it would be.
Okay.
Don't do it.
I've got a bing bong here, Steve.
Bing bong
for corn.
All right.
I'm just going to talk about it. Corn sweats. You ever heard of corn sweats?
Yeah.
We're talking about corn being bad for the environment, right?
Yes.
As you're talking about this. So corn naturally moves water through the plant to the surface of the plant in order to try to keep the corn nice inside, right? It's got a little cooling effect on the outside.
Moist.
But by doing this, that moistness on the outside ends up evaporating and causing more humidity in the air.
Ugh.
So it increases the already high dew points, making it feel even more humid on a localized scale, places around corn. So if it's super hot out, it'll be corn sweats going around, and it'll actually make it more humid. Let's say it's like 90% humidity, that could bump it up another couple percentage if you're around a cornfield or around an area that has a lot of corn.
Son of a bitch. And this is probably not as bad as, maybe a forest environment.
Here's the deal. We don't care about forest environments. We're talking corn right now. The bing bong doesn't go to forest environments. Bing bong goes to corn.
I'm just wondering if it's more or less than forest environments. Probably more. I'm going to go with more.
We're not going to discuss this.
Okay.
Because this is a corn themed section.
Okay. All right.
So you keep your comments to yourself for this.
I'm wondering, I have another question. If it's in like a corn maze situation.
Oh.
Would this corn also inside the corn maze, is the humidity higher?
My guess would be yes. It would probably be, I would say that makes sense to me. If you are somebody who suffers from heat strokes, don't go in the corn maze. But here's the deal, Steve. It said that corn can contribute between 3,500 and 5,000 gallons of water per acre to the atmosphere over the course of 1 or 2 days. Just to give you a context, a pool is 18 to 20,000. So an acre of corn can give off in 4 days a pool's worth of. Yes. A pool's worth of water.
Where are they getting a pool's worth of water from?
A typical pool contains 18,000 to 20,000 gallons.
Well, yeah, I know, but where's the corn getting all this? I know farmers aren't putting pools worth of water down every day.
They are. They're constantly spraying it. It rains. They're sucking it from the ground.
Oh my!
That's what corn's doing, guys. Corn's killing us.
We gotta stop corn. Big corn's killing America.
Yeah, I blame Orville Redenbacher. Popcorn
Honestly, that's some of the best popcorn out there.
Yeah. All right. We'll keep popcorn around.
Okay.
Steve, we had an email here.
Okay.
From Chubstep Meredith that says how to say Kamala. Gentlemen, please try to say it correctly. It's a video we're going to watch.
I say Kamala.
I say Kamala. I say Kamala. Well, I hear it in the news a million times. You hear it all over the place. Let's see if
Kamala?
Kamala. Yeah, I don't say Kamala, if that's what they're thinking. Let's just see what this says. Okay. It's Kerry Washington is the girl's name's Amara and Layla. They're little sisters. Yeah, they're sisters. They're gonna their aunt is Kamala Harris. Okay, first you say comma, and then you like a comma in a sentence, then you say la la like la 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 la.
Kamala.
Kamala.
Kamala. I can't do it. I can't do it. I need
Kamala.
that.
Yes. Okay, I was definitely not saying it right. Um,
Kamala.
basically Kamala, comma and then la.
Hmm.
So yeah, I didn't get it right.
I'm gonna call her K Dog from now on.
There you go. Thank you, Chubstep Meredith. It was embarrassing, but apparently embarrassing enough for the whole world to the point where they had to do an announcement. PBS had to show
On
some thing
at the
about it.
Democratic National Convention.
Yes.
So they were the ones messing it up.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and say that the news sources have been wrong about this for a while now.
Yeah.
Thank you. Email the show, chubstep.podcast@gmail.com.
Bird up.
Yeah, I got a really good Tanzania, really wild Tanzania news.
All right, let's hear it. Tanzania news.
The infection causes immediate respiratory failure, and scientists claim the mutation is now transmitted.
You know what Fugazi is?
Fugazi, it's fake.
Yeah, Fugazi, Fugazi, it's a wazzy, it's a woozy, it's a fairy dust.
What are you, from Tanzania?
Yes, I am.
Okay, I love the crimes that come out of Tanzania. No, we're not talking about the opposition leader being abducted.
Because actually I saw that article as well, and I was like, we've
woods.
talked about that a lot recently. But
yeah, it just keeps happening. That would be the equivalent of like Trump just getting Kamala K-Dog and just like beating her up and putting her in the woods. That's what they're
it'd be
doing
like
out
everybody
in Tanzania.
it'd be like everybody that's like in her party, all of a sudden they just keep ending up like in the woods, beat up or
in the
dead
woods.
without their heads. That's literally what's going on in Tanzania right now.
Yeah, it seems fun. But we're not going to talk about that. We're going to talk about a silly little guy who pulled off a pretty crazy scam.
Love it.
So this guy from Tanzania, he traveled to South Africa for some reason, and he met a woman. I don't know where he met her on. They don't say the lady's name because she's too embarrassed in this too.
That's fair.
Yeah,
that's fair.
But she lived in South Africa. This guy, Nobule. Oh no, wait, Nobule is the fake name they give her, and his name is Mark Kagame. So old Mark meets this lady, and immediately she's like, I'm an older woman, I'm single. Mark's not too bad looking.
Yeah.
So he like immediately asked her out. She was a school teacher, has kids in school. For some reason on the first date, he's like, hey, you should quit your teaching job. And she's like, what? No.
Okay.
So then she said like they started dating. She said he was like a quiet person. He's and sincere.
Other than the other one when he spoke up to say you should quit your job.
Yeah. Also, she said he rushed to be intimate with her.
Slow down, buddy.
Slow down. And they have pictures of like him in her bed with her face blurred out. So she's telling the truth here.
Yeah.
Yeah, she said, they weren't living together. He met her kids and he seemed to like them. So she says that, but also when she invited him to come over when the kids were home, he would just go in the driveway, wait in the car, and pick her up and not go inside and see the kids.
He did not like the kids.
Yeah, he did not. Apparently, she says he liked them, but apparently he did not like them at all. So relationship starts blossoming. Nobule said Kagame wanted her to meet his uncle. And she says she went to meet the uncle, and then he gave her food. And to this day, she wonders what was in that food. Because after eating, the uncle said we should go into a certain room. These are her words.
Yeah.
The uncle said we should go into a certain room, and I cannot explain how I was just agreeing to everything without asking questions. My mind was not working well, she said.
Okay.
Then she said in the prayer room, the events in the prayer room included clapping hands, shouting the word Father repeatedly, And then she said, suddenly a voice boomed out of nowhere. This was, the father voice.
Yep.
And the father just started like calling her by name, saying stuff about her, like whatever, hey, I know.
So she thinks she's talking to God at this point, right? Is that what this is?
Essentially, it seems like they gave her acid and then made her do some weird chants.
Okay.
And then, yeah, they were trying to make her think she's talking to God. They give her some like info about herself and then tell her, all right, like you got to pray. So she thinks she's talking to God. They're praying, and then the uncle just opens a drawer and he's like, there's $20 million in this drawer.
Wait. He says this to her. He says this to her.
He says that to her.
Okay.
He opens the drawer and she said there was a bunch of money in it, and the uncle's like, there's $20 million in this drawer. And
a big drawer.
Yeah, big drawer. So then the voice starts coming back and starts talking about like her bank accounts and her lump pension, a $2.4 million pension lump sum from whatever her years of teaching.
Yeah.
And they start like the voice starts telling her like, yeah, you're gonna get it in March on this day and blah blah blah, and you gotta like open these bank accounts and stuff and do all this stuff, and she's just like, all right, okay. So she like, this went on for more than the one meal. She just like went and opened all these bank accounts and like did what the voice said.
Okay.
Opens 3 bank accounts. She deposits 500,000 into like each bank account, does all this stuff. The uncle is now like, hey, you got to withdraw this money because it's, what does he say? He had to cleanse the money because it was bad luck.
I mean, that's true. There's times that I've not done that and I regret it instantly. So I get it.
Where you didn't cleanse your money?
Yeah, you got to cleanse the money.
Yeah. So the uncle starts cleansing the money. And he's like, all right, I'm going to deposit it once it's clean and, once it's lucky money again. This happens over a week's time, all the withdrawing. So I don't know if they're still giving her the food or.
Yeah, a little confused because you get, okay, one time, somebody gives you some drugs or something. You might listen to something that, while it's wearing off before it wears off. But now this is over a week's time. Like what? Yeah, what is going on here?
Especially if you went into a bank to open up a bank account and you were just on LSD. I don't know if they're going to let you open that bank account and transfer your pension.
That sounds fair.
Yeah. She takes all her money out of her pension account. She gives it all to the uncle. And then uncle and old, forgot what his name was, Jerry
Mark.
Something, doesn't matter, Mark, they just disappear.
Well, for now.
Yeah,
it could be now.
Yeah, I mean, they might still be making it unlucky. She went to the police and the police are like, yeah, you took the money out, so like what your case is pretty much dead. Like dead in the water. Because she was the one that made all the withdrawals and everything.
Yeah, you're not okay. So, but the money in the bank was dirty money, like it was not cleansed, right?
Yeah, so that's like the main thing is even if she kept that money, like these guys probably got unlucky. They were probably trying to cleanse it and then hurt themselves, got in a car wreck.
That's probably exactly what happened. Yeah, I would think that's what happened because assuming they didn't know how to do it, that's probably what the scam was. They tell people how to make the money pure, but they don't know how to do it. So, okay, but in general, Steve, this whole thing with this lady, you do feel bad for her if it happened like one time, they like forced her to go to an ATM and she withdrew a bunch of money, right? That one you kind of see. I don't understand how this happens over a week, and it's hard to feel bad for this lady.
And their best line is, you got to take all this money out, give it to me because it's bad luck, and I got to clean it. I gotta cleanse your money, the energies. What the hell?
Yeah,
Uncle
I mean, like,
who drugged me,
and it's like, it's not money laundering money where they're trying to clean it, like put it through other ways to spend money so that it's
trying to
clean
make it
that way.
lucky.
They're talking like metaphorical cleaning of this money, not like a literal of.
Yeah, that was her teacher money. And for those wondering, 4.2 million South African rand equals 239,000 US dollars. So that's
that's
how
how
much
much you
US
lost.
dollars. Yeah.
Okay. So here's, I think, the biggest loser in this whole thing. I would say any students that she ever taught while she was a
Yeah.
teacher. Those are the biggest
Yeah.
losers in the building, because if that lady is teaching your kids,
Yeah, the nation of South Africa might have been hurt by this whole
that's what I think that's what I'm taking away from this, is that this lady should never have been teaching kids
I don't think so. Or adults or
or
anyone.
adults. Whatever she was teaching should not have been allowed to do that. There need to be
Hopefully not
stricter
math.
regulations on teaching. That's what I'm taking away from this. Like that's
Yeah.
if you're that gullible or whatever that is. I would have liked to seen, like, if we had a video of this, maybe I could be a little more convinced of like maybe this is like a high dollar production thing, right? If they've done this before, maybe they've got like the smoke and the lasers and the big voice. Maybe they've got like a Morgan Freeman to step in. They pay him a few grand to say a few lines, and I don't know how it works, but maybe it's a high dollar thing that would have convinced you or me.
I think, yeah, maybe. She really could have been wowed.
Yeah.
And just moved by the whole production of thing and she went into like a week-long days.
Yeah.
A $239,000 give all my money away days.
Yes.
And now she's just screwed too.
Yeah. No, she's in. Yeah.
Yeah, because she's never getting any of that money back. Initially when I did it, I didn't realize it was a Tanzanian guy that went to South Africa. So I did the currency conversion, and 2.4 or 4.2 million Tanzanian shillings is $800.
Oh God, yeah.
And I was like, I was like about to start a GoFundMe for this poor girl. But...
I was like, God, if she worked her whole life and had $800 at her pension, that's a tough one. Yeah, she might have to go back to work, and I think maybe
she should go back to school.
Or here's the deal. Here's my final solution for her. She knows how they did it, right? So now she needs to pay it forward. Now she kind of knows what works, what doesn't. So she can improve on their system and make it even better. She just has to find like a younger man, or probably an older man, right? And then do the same thing to him and just pass it on, pass the buck.
Passing the buck.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a tough way to lose your. I mean, you don't really deserve $200,000 if you're going to lose it like that.
That's tough. Yeah. Yeah.
All right. I'm probably more immature than you, but at least I have a bigger willy.
Yeah, bigger than a mouse's.
What the hell was that?
I said your willy's bigger than a mouse.
I heard what you said, but it took you like 8 seconds. You can't come back with a comeback after 8 seconds. You got 3 seconds, 5, tops. I mean, that's why they call it a quip, not a slope.
This is the last thing I'll do here. My sob story for reality TV. This is my recurring segment. I'm going to read you this for those that don't know. This segment is if I was a contestant on The Bachelorette, let's say, right? I'm trying to woo this girl, but I don't have a sad enough personal life story. So I need to come up with one that sounds sad. But in reality, it's just a movie plot that I've tailored to sound like my own life story. So I'm going to say this to you, Steve. When you know the movie, go ahead and stop it. Go ahead and yell me what it is. Buzz in. But I'm going to say, but the goal would be to like say the story, and then she'd be like, oh, that's so sad. But isn't that this movie? And I'd be like, yeah, you know what? Now that you're saying that,
it's really similar.
We have very similar lives. Very similar lives. So just and maybe she catches you, and then you guys have something in common because you've seen the same movie. You get the point. So here's what it is, dude. And you're the girl, right? You're the girl I'm talking about.
I'm always the girl. Yeah.
Okay. So my life has been a bit of a roller coaster, filled with unexpected challenges and incredible journeys. But growing up, I faced some pretty tough obstacles. I was always bullied. I wasn't accepted by others. Kids were cruel to me. But then I found my passion. I channeled all that pain into running. It was my escape, my way of proving myself to others that I could overcome anything. I never imagined that my love for running would take me on a journey across the country, but it did. I learned that sometimes you have to just keep running and not look back. I met some incredible people.
Is this Forrest Gump?
But I've experienced a lot of heartbreak. The first woman I loved died from AIDS. And my best friend was killed right next to me while I was in war.
Jared?
Yeah.
Is that Bubba Gump from
Yeah, Bubba Gump
Gump?
did die. Or Forrest Gump. Despite I'll finish up here. Despite all the highs, I still carry the weight of those early experiences. They shape me into who I am today, someone who believes in the importance of kindness and connection. I always say, life is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. And I've learned to embrace that uncertainty.
Wow, here's this rose.
Thank you. Thank you, scene. Yeah. See, it sounds,
And that was that wasn't a big sob story. That was just, I got bullied and then turned into a jock.
I got bullied, and then a woman I loved died from AIDS, and my best friend died next to me.
In Vietnam?
Well, I didn't say, I just said in war.
Oh, in war.
Just generic war. I didn't say Vietnam. Obviously, it's before I was born. Like, she's gonna know it's a lie.
Yeah. Okay. That one didn't make me that sad.
Okay, I'll make it more sad. It's more just a traumatic side, part of my life that
what I'm saying is, like, that's not saving you in Survivor. If
that's
you're
fair.
Like on the final thing.
Okay. Next time I'll make it more sad. I'll focus more on the part where kids were like throwing rocks at me while I'm running.
Yeah, kids were hitting me with rocks and hitting me.
Okay. But you don't want to sound like you don't want her to feel bad for you. It's a fine line of like feeling sympathy versus like if the girl is like, oh my God, I feel so bad for this guy. Like she's not going to be attracted to that.
Yeah, but she can't not give you the rose.
Good point. You get at least one
week.
There's
a competition.
You at least, but I'm not going to win the whole thing, but I'll get further down the line, maybe on Bachelor in a future season. Good point, Steve.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we'll wrap it up there. People email the show, chubstep.podcast@gmail.com. The plan right now is to eventually have a guest next week for a Halloween-themed episode. Steve,
it'll be scary.
Think about it.
Gonna be scary.
Gonna be very scary. Very twisted. Very twisted.
Yep.
Picture my mind, the same mind that connects corn tortillas to the harmful effects of ethanol, but in the Halloween mindset. Twist it. Exactly. Okay. All right, we'll wrap it up there. New episodes every Thursday. Watch us on YouTube, Chubstep YouTube. Check it out. The show has ended. Be gone.
Now you know you got to go.
Peace. This is Yasin.